We sippin' slow, post some more. Yeah, we just sippin' slow. Lean.
Hey y'all, thank you so much for sipping it slow. If you're new here, thank you so much for coming through here. I want to talk about leading and the instinct of wanting to be liked, because I told y'all in my short that if you like by everybody, then there's something fake about you. You have to disappoint people, and if you can't, then you have a disappointment problem. You're afraid to let people down, so you overextend yourself, overcommit, over explain, over sacrifice. You answer texts you don't want to answer. You agree to favors that drain your energy. You volunteer for things that excite everyone else but you. It don't excite you. You call it kindness, but sometimes it's fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being misunderstood, fear of not being needed, fear of losing connection, fear of being labeled selfish. See, when you're constantly people pleasing outside of your home, and I'm not talking about if you're in a relationship, because if you are in a relationship, y'all are one. There is no separation when you have two people that's together as a unit. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the people on the outside of your home that's not directly affected by your feelings, your emotions. You're performing for approval, adjusting your voice, shrinking your opinions, softening your boundaries. Leaders disappoint people. I'm going to say that again and let it sit with you. Leaders disappoint people. Not because they're heartless, but because they have direction. They have a vision. They have priorities. They have limits. You can't steer the plane if you're trying to make every passenger comfortable. Flight attendant, if every move you make needs approval, you are not the leader. You are managed by other people's expectations of you. And that management is very expensive, emotionally expensive. The cost is resentment, burnout, frustration that builds. You start smiling out of obligation, giggling out of obligation, saying yes when your spirit is saying H no. Showing up physically, but disappearing internally. You do all the right things on the outside, but your soul is on retreat. That's self-neglect, friend. Practice the art of respectful disappointment. It means learning to say, I can't do that, without explaining yourself. That doesn't work for me and my wife. That just doesn't work for us. Without apologizing. I don't agree with you, without shrinking or saying why you don't agree unless you want to say why you don't agree. It means setting boundaries that feel uncomfortable, but for others, not for you, because their temporary dis- disapproval or discomfort is not your permanent assignment. Ask yourself, how many times have you avoided saying no only to regret it later? How many times have you sacrificed your peace to keep someone else comfortable? You say yes on the outside to somebody else, and then your household is in shambles because you don't know how to say no because you're being too nice. Every time you avoid disappointing them, you disappoint yourself, because in the end, you're going to feel it. And eventually, this version of you that keeps getting sacrificed will stop trusting you to protect it. You'll start questioning every choice you make, doubting your instincts, second guessing yourself constantly. Because living to please everyone else erodes your confidence in yourself. You start losing track of what you even want, what you like, what you even need. You become reliable, dependable on other people to like you, doing everything that they want you to do just to be liked, supportive, but not powerful. You could never be powerful if you live in for others. And the longer you refuse to disappoint others, the harder it becomes to disappoint them later. You can be all for them, rooting them on, all the garbage that they got going on. You could say, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then in the end, when they need you and they fall because you never disappointed them, you going to have to carry that weight because you wasn't tough enough to tell them no. So now you have no choice. And when you get older, fragile, you don't want to deal with that. So deal with it now because you trained them to expect yes all the time, to expect access, to expect compliance. So when you finally say no, they are so surprised. They may even feel betrayed, not because you changed, but because you finally stop abandoning yourself. Leadership begins internally. It begins the first time you choose clarity over what you want in life. What do you want? It begins the first time you say, I'm not available, and hold your ground. It begins the first time you choose your direction over someone else's. You do not have to be harsh or cold. You don't have to be arrogant, but you do have to be firm, firm in your values, firm in your boundaries, and firm in your alignment. Reinforce your power, reinforce your voice. You reinforce your leadership. So if you are going to people please, if you are going to pour energy into anyone, make sure one of the people who walks away satisfied is you, or if you are in a covenant, you and your spouse. Make sure your peace is intact. Make sure your goals are protected. Make sure your spirit is not shrinking, because at the end of it all, you will not regret disappointing someone else. You will regret abandoning yourself. Leadership starts the moment you stop chasing approval and start honoring your alignment. And alignment requires courage, the courage to say no, the courage to disappoint, the courage to stand in your own truth. And when you do that, you finally see the people who belong in your life will respect you for it. They have no choice. And if they don't, you don't care. And the ones who can't, they were only there for the version of you that didn't stand up for yourself anyway. So go ahead, disappoint them respectfully, firmly, clearly, because if you're going to people please, make sure one of those people who walks away satisfied is you. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And make sure you always sipping it slow. Dream on.